Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, when trying to decide what I wanted to film today, I made a list, and I think the thing that stuck out the most was the yearbook. So, let me tell you a story. Alright, senior year, I had asked the advisor what you needed to do in order to be the head editor. And she said to be the head editor, basically all you had to do was ask. So, of course, I asked. Some people had sports, some people, sports. I wasn't athletic in high school. I mainly did like theater, and I was in band and model UN, stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, senior year, the yearbook is going to be my baby. And it was a fight from the beginning. My best friend at the time, we're going to call her Maria. Maria and I had study hall together every day, and we would work on the yearbook every day. Now, some days we would like watch YouTube videos on her phone or, just talk. But she was amazing throughout the whole thing. So eventually we got everything together. We triple checked that names were spelled right, that everyone was included, just the basic stuff. And we sent it off to be printed. About 2 weeks later, there was a guy on the morning announcements that did the shocker. Now, I'm not going to show you what the shocker is. If you want to know, you can Google it. Don't say I didn't warn you. It's a sexual gesture. And I was young and naive, and I didn't recognize it because I had never seen it before, so I didn't know. There was a guy, so the guy that said it on the morning announcements ended up getting expelled. That was kind of like the last straw, because he had done other stuff. So this was just like the icing on the cake, and he got expelled. Well, right after that happened, this guy, we're going to call him N. N started bragging that he did the shocker in the yearbook. And I was like, damn it. So Maria and I looked back through the yearbook, and we found where he did it, and we also found where almost everyone in the National Honor Society did it. And it was kind of like, we had already sent it off to be printed. So it's like, what do we do now? So I talked to our advisor, and she got the company to print stickers of a different picture, and we're going to call her Chloe. She was another friend of mine. Chloe and I had to go through I don't even remember how many hundreds of yearbooks there were, but we had to go through all of them and put a sticker on 2 pictures. Now, a lot of people didn't think it was a big deal. For instance, my principal, I went to him about it, and I basically wanted to make him aware, and one of the people who did it to get in trouble, just like the guy who did it on the announcements got in trouble. And he's like, oh, it's just the yearbook. That was the morning announcements. I'm like, people's grandparents get these yearbooks. And at the time, I wanted to go to college to be a creative writer. And I'm like, if I edit and get something published and there's something really inappropriate in there, it's going to come back on me. So I was livid. He was not on my side. And most of the people in my class were not on my side. They didn't see it was a problem. And again, it's like, all it takes is for one parent to see that, figure out what it is, and then it's all going to fall back on Maria and I. And I didn't want that to happen. So we did the stickers, and it took, I can't tell you how many study halls we spent doing that. It was ridiculous. But then, so one of the things we did in the yearbook for the seniors was a will. So like for mine, we're going to call him Randy. I will Randy another pot of coffee and another conversation on my front porch. So it's just things like that. But for some of the people, we had to cut in a line or 2 short because there wasn't enough room to post the whole thing. And when the yearbooks came out, all hell broke loose. So I was in English class. It was before class had officially started, so everyone was talking. And this girl, we're going to call her May, I have many story times about May, but I'll get to those in a later. She starts whining and complaining because part of her will got cut out. And it's like, I tried to explain to her it was too long, and she's like, well, you put your whole will in there. Well, my will wasn't that long. I didn't have to cut anything out. There were a lot of people that I didn't have to cut anything out, but there were a few that I did. And she was so mad, and she's complaining to the rest of the class. I'm like, May, I can hear you. It was ridiculous. And there was another girl, we're going to call her Dana, who, she was in theater as well. She was actually the director's daughter. And on the page about the most recent musical, she wasn't really represented. Now, I did oversee the whole yearbook, but I didn't do the section for the musical. So I wasn't aware of this problem until after it came out. So I went to her personally. I said, unfortunately, I didn't catch that, but I'm really sorry you weren't represented. And she was still upset, but we ended up being okay. She was a good friend anyway. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, there was one picture for prom. Two of my best friends at the time, we're going to call them Randy and Liz. Liz was from a different school, but she went to our prom with Randy. There was a picture of them dancing that I absolutely loved. It was a perfect picture at the time. And I wanted it to be in the yearbook. So I went into the prom page, and I didn't make it big. It was just one of those small in a collage. And I put the picture in there. Every time I went to look at the prom page, somebody had taken the picture out and put it back in there. So the last day Maria and I worked on it, I went to the prom page. I put the picture of Randy and Liz back in there. And to this day, Randy and Liz are in the yearbook together. So at least that turned out good. Then so there were 3 teachers who were on my side. My English teacher, who asked me what the shocker was, and I said, don't Google it at school. The advisor, who understood where I was coming from and came up with the idea for the stickers. And then my chemistry teacher, he was my chemistry teacher junior year. I didn't have him senior year. But when I was delivering the yearbooks to his class, he said, I'm really sorry that they were all jerks to you. And that was nice to hear from a teacher who recognized that people were being jerks. So yeah, that's the story of the yearbook. We ended up publishing it, got all the stickers in them. There were some people that were really pissed off that we did the stickers, and they said they were going to peel the stickers off. And the advisor made it very clear, if you peel the stickers off, it will rip the page, and we are not going to replace your yearbook if you do that. So that made me feel a little bit better, because I knew, okay, the problem will stay hidden, basically. So, yeah, that was the yearbook. It made senior year really interesting, because that was, of all the extracurriculars I did, that was one of my favorites, and that was the one where I had the most responsibility, and to be able to pull it off was really nice. And there was one teacher that said to my advisor, if you can get this class to publish a yearbook, you can get any class to publish a yearbook. Because there was a lot of just bitterness, and it was so weird. The class didn't all get along, and I was part of the group that the rest of the people didn't like. So I think that's why it was such a problem. See, in the beginning, there were 20 people that had access to the yearbook. And people would go in, for instance, in the band section, we had a lot of awards. And I wanted to include a couple pictures of trophies just to be hey, we did this and we're really proud of it. And you could leave notes, and I left a note on that page, and somebody went in and said, no, that's stupid. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So whenever that kept happening and people kept going in and leaving comments, I talked to the advisor, and she made it so Maria and I were the only ones who had access. And I think that's the only reason it got done, because otherwise it would have just been a fight the whole time. So, I think that's all the details. So, yeah, I will see you next week.